Super Dave here, and welcome to episode 38 of Figures, Play Sets, and Accessories that work well with either MOTU Classics or Masterverse or both. FPA, episode 38. Thank you for joining us. We're looking at a behemoth tonight. I mean, a big figure. Another one of the figures from X-Ray Studio or Combatants Fight for Glory. And this is a biggin'. Just look at this. Now, there are two of these brothers, so to speak. And this is the one that is more the brown or orangish color with the horns curled instead of straight up. And this is the one, it was a kind of a toss-up for me. And I looked at different ones, reviews. I just got this in today from Big Bad Toy Store as I pre-ordered. But this guy, I mean... he's bigger than I thought he is, or thought he was. And the thing is, it was a toss-up of which I wanted to get. The brown colored one here, orangish color, or the black. But as I studied them and looked at reviews, I went with this one. There was just something about this one that spoke to me. I couldn't afford both. Well, heck, I couldn't afford this one. But I went ahead and bit the bullet and wanted to review this guy as part of my MOTU universe, possibly. And believe it or not, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I want to make this dude a good guy. Yes. I know some of you are like, you're crazy. That's a bad guy. Or even a monster in Eternia. No, I want to make him a good guy. That's my plan. And I want to check him out. There is a product shot of the back here, if you want to look at that very quickly. And there's a little bio there. If you want to pause and read that, you certainly can. And there's some more information on the side about this lure. And I want to see how he measures up with my other figures over here. We're going to compare him to several lines. Is he too big? Is he too detailed? Is his articulation shabby or good? We're going to look at all of that, measure him in, and just see what this big guy, Kasos is all about. Let's check him out over here in Eternia. And here we are in the land of Eternia. Just take a look at it here. Awesome looking setup with some of our Eternian friends to look at our Kasos. Kasos, the combatant Fight for Glory beast. And let's first take a look at our Kasos accessories. Our Kasos, first of all, comes with 3 sets of hands. He comes with a pair of balled up fisted hands. He comes with a open palm and even grappling style looking hand. And then he comes with a pair of weapon holding hands. And there is a ball joint on these big boys so they can go in any direction you desire for all 3 sets of hands. And then he comes with this awesome axe, this double-bladed axe with a wood style handle with a leathery looking wrap around it there, and then even some spikes at the hilt at the bottom. But it's looking pretty cool, weathered look, like it's real metal even though it's not, with some scarring and battle damage, even the screws and the rivets there holding it together. It is looking epic. Just look at that belt that he comes with. Looks like a real bone head attached to his belt buckle, so to speak. He has a real metal chain hanging off of that big garment, this loincloth belt type garment with even some plastic pieces as well. It looks leather and this looks metal, but these are plastic and they're painted, but it looks nice and weathered and looks really cool. And there is some soft goods material, type material there underneath all of that, and that's just very impressive. And then he even has some little jewelry type pieces like around his horns that are removable there, and of course armor that is removable. Most of this is removable, but it is looking really cool here. He is just looking amazing. And then he comes also with a option. You see how tall this dude is? Well, you can either have hooves like I have equipped here, and I did take the wraps. You can either remove those or turn them upside down to cover the joint, and I put on his hooves, or you can use his feet, and those wraps would be turned the other way, and it just looks like wraps for the ankles that go along with the wraps, of course, on his feet. Those are big feet, but I didn't want humanoid feet on my Kasos, my big bull character here, so I decided to use the hooves. So you get that option. That is cool, but it does make him taller by about another inch. And I will say that it kind of looks odd. It almost looks like, if you don't bend his knees a little bit, like he's just got too long of legs or something. But you can make it work if you kind of position him. I guess it's almost kind of like what we do with the Gargoyls, getting their feet and tail and everything positioned. But he stands pretty good. I mean, not as secure with the hooves as with the feet, but it still works. So that is cool. Now let's take a look at our Kasos Articulation. All right, let's bring this behemoth on in here and really take a look at him. He is awesome looking. He looks menacing. He looks amazing. He looks big and muscular. Just look at the vein details coming up into the shoulders and the arms and the chest. There's like veins popping everywhere. Take a look at these veins in the legs and calves. There's just like branches of vein work that goes throughout, even in the forearms and the top of the arm. It just really looks cool. There's like a mane, a hair that goes down his back there, down the shoulders and back, looking really cool and well painted. Just looks really cool. This armor is unique to this one as far as the two that I've seen. And again, this is removable, this is removable, so it looks really cool. But just amazing all the way around the way this guy's done. Going on into the articulation for now, you can't really look up. That's as much as he's going to look up, which is more of a straight ahead look, which is not uncommon for these kind of beasts. But it does look like if they had carved out a niche right here, that ball peg could go back further and actually allow him to look up. But we didn't get that. You could probably modify it, but as it stands, it hits the back, and you're not going to be able to look up any further than that, but you are going to be able to look down all the way, and that looks really cool. That definitely looks acceptable, looks good. And because of the way the ball peg is more coming this way instead of this way, you're going to get your head pivot doing that, and like you would normally turn side to side, you're going to get your head pivot that way, and then you're going to get your side to side when the way you would normally get your head pivot by looking left and right, what you would normally get head pivot with. So it's a good thing that he gets some head pivot there, because that allows him to look left and right, and then of course he will get the expressions like, what's going on? Okay, let's see, by just turning it on that ball peg. So you get a really good range there, except for looking up, and I guess because of the hunched over look of this humanoid bull, he's cool. All right, his arms, and again, you can kind of move that out of the way. It will move out of the way, but his arms will get a full T-pose there. He does have bicep swivel. Just take a look at that. So we're already doing better than Mythic Legions, which is kind of what this guy looks a little bit like. Definitely smells like it when you open the package. Smells just like a Mythic Legion smells. You smell that paint, that strong smell. But yeah, you get excellent bicep swivel. You only get a single jointed elbow, and it gets, I don't know, not quite 90 degrees, but it's pretty decent. And because it is a single, you also get a swivel at the elbow in that joint. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, you have a ball joint at your wrist. So you're going to swivel, and whichever way that ball joint is facing, you're going to be able to either hinge horizontally or vertically. I'm just not sure which way I have it, because these will block it a little bit. These jumbo style wraps are hard. They're soft, but they're hard too. So it's kind of a dual mixture there. But I have it right now fixed where I think I've got it on a horizontal hinge, and I'm not able to really, a vertical hinge, and I'm not really able to move it. So, but these are removable, but then you're going to show that big joint right there. And you see it gets plenty of range. It's just huge. So if you don't have that there, then you're going to be able to see, you're going to be able to get the range, but then you're going to see that joint. But you also get to see all the vascularity in that arm too. So, you know, it's a trade-off. Moving on to his butterfly joint, I want you to see this break right here in his chest area going into his lats. You can see that there is a cutout here, and you would think that you'd get really good articulation with that, but that's as far back as it's going to go right there. But you will get some forward motion, but it stops about right there. You don't really get a whole lot, and you can see how it begins to just hit back here. And I know there's people that do modifications, and there could probably be something done to get a little bit more range, but out of the package, that's as far forward as you're going to be able to go with that arm. So it goes from there to there, bending that elbow a little bit too, from there to there. Now you do get a little bit of a shift when you move that as well, so it does shift a little bit, but not a lot, mostly back and forward, but mostly forward. And the same here, but you do get a little bit of a shift, and you can see it right here at the neck muscle, how it shifts a little bit. And again, this is just wrapped around the bicep, so you could take that off. This gauntlet comes off, so you could bear that arm if you wanted to, but you can also adjust that so it moves out of the way. This bicep band here that's supposed to look metal, this is attached to it, so you can just kind of maneuver that or turn that or rotate it out of the way, or move that higher up on the bicep to cover that shoulder, or move it lower down to get your vertical pose there with your arm. But moving on to the diaphragm, I want to go ahead and try to get this belt as low as possible. You can see he has really nice abs that actually go all the way down, so there's a six-pack there. And he's going to be able to bend back if you use the diaphragm and the waist joint about that much. And you see a little gappage, and then you're going to be able to crunch forward a really good amount. You're actually able to cover up almost the entirety of that first level upper abdomen and crunch forward like that. And then if you then turn that head down, you're going to really be able to look down at the humans that are so tiny as he fights them. And so that is really good. You're also going to get some side-to-side motion. Also, you get a really good side-to-side turn in the abdomen and in the waist if you can get a hold of it below this belt. But like I said, you get basically a pretty decent hula hoop. Not quite the range. I mean, you can bend it. Let me show you. Yeah, see, you can bend it. You can see the musculature here. And if I bend it all the way that way, you can see the musculature there. And it is really tight, but you can do it, and it feels good, and it looks good. It actually looks good, you know, overall here with the ability to articulate. Now, he will get pretty much full splits. If you get that leg turned the right way, you can see he pretty much gets full splits there. He also has some thigh swivel up in there. He's going to be able to kick up a really good amount. He's going to be able to kick back a pretty decent amount. Double jointed knees, which allow his hooves to hit the back of his back there. And again, you can see if I move that completely out of the way, there is a hinge there that's going to allow you to bend forward or back and swivel at that joint. And then you also get, and I'll go ahead and bend this back forward, but you also get the ability to go up with that hoof, back with that hoof a little bit, and then even a rocker with that hoof. And then you have a peg hole in the bottom, and they're pretty stiff. I had to heat mine up to get that peg to go in the hole, and I wasn't really sure which was left and right, so I'm assuming with that little niche right there in the hoof that's kind of like the inner toe. So I think I've got them on the correct way. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks right to me. It didn't look right the other way, so I'm assuming I have it on right. I wish they had put a left L and an R on them, and I couldn't see one. So, but anyway, you see how tall this guy is. Just look how tall he is when you have the hooves on. Just really, really tall. And again, you have to kind of get him stabilized. I don't have his knees bent like I did before, which does make it look better. I mean, really it does, because it's almost like his legs are like he's on stilts or something. But if you bend these knees a little bit like this and adjust those hooves, even the hinge in the hoof, it kind of looks better to me that way. And the paint's even flaking off of the leg already, just having done that amount of mobility there of the legs. The paint's flaking off somewhere. But moving on to the head, I wanted to save this for last because this is one of the things, to be honest with you, other than the fact that I just thought they looked cool. They were just a little bit on the expensive side, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get these guys. It is bigger than I thought, but we're getting ready to do comparisons here in a moment. But I'm going to tell you what really sold me on this is, instead of getting two head sculpts, you have an articulated mouth. I'm just big on articulation, and I like articulated mouths because we just don't get it very much, especially in 1/12 scale. And even though this guy is tall, he's a lot taller than 6 inches. He's a lot taller than that 6 foot scale, you know, in comparison. Just having that articulated mouth, I'm like, man, that is just so cool. So just get a little closer here and let me show you how neat that looks. I mean, that looks realistic, the way it opens. You got the tongue, you got the teeth, the coloring, the individual teeth that are just designated there. And a lot of people, you know, I know the black one, I believe, has red eyes. This one actually has orange eyes, so it's a little different. And I don't know, the black one I'd have to almost make a bad guy, I guess. I mean, he just looks so menacing. But I wanted to be able to see a little bit more detail, and I felt like this color would show off more of the detail, even though I might have kind of liked the horns on the other one better. These really grew on me as I looked at pictures, especially some of the pictures that some of the folks had been taking of him on Instagram. There again is that soft goods you can see bleeding through back here. And you see the detail on this, even the back part of the belt, the leather looking parts here that are really plastic, and then the painted little rivets. And then these leather looking pieces are just soft plastic, but they're textured and it looks realistic, very realistic. And then again, this is fur type material, fuzzy type material. But man, this guy, you can just see the look of him. The details really shine with this color, and I just felt like this color would go well with our MOTU Classics or Masterverse figures. And we're getting ready to check that out right now in comparisons. And here's our Kasos Bull Warrior Fight for Glory by Excess Ray Studios. Awesome figure, bull type figure, more the beige or brownish orange, copper even colored bull, beside our Masters of the Universe Revelation He-Man with a Hordak MX head sculpt, and then a custom Hebrew made with Clamp Champ's body and head and some of He-Man's chest armor, the Barbarian Viking style He-Man chest armor. As you know, you can look at my reviews on these characters. So we have Hebrew, and we have He-Man, and we have Kasos, and they're looking awesome. So yeah, they're definitely taller. These figures are taller than Masterverse, but I think they fit in well. I mean, you know, if they were the same size, they really wouldn't be, I guess, true to scale. And again, this way of setting up our bull action figure, Kasos, with the hooves is about, I would guess, about an inch, maybe a little shy of being an inch taller than with the feet, the humanoid feet. Because if you look at the measurement here, and we'll put the tape measure behind him, try to line it up to eye level, at the top of his head is 9.5 inches. 9.5 inches. And I do have his knees bent just slightly because I wanted to make it look more, I don't know, natural. Even though this is not natural for a bull to stand up on two legs. I didn't want it to look like he was on stilts. So if you bend the legs and bend the hoof hinge part that I have the wraps around, like I said, I turn those wraps upside down. They are removable, that top layer, just to cover up that hinge. I like the way that looked better for me personally. You can do it whichever way you would like to, but yeah, these are really cool because bending the knees a little bit does give it a little bit more of a natural stance, in my opinion, and I like that. So, but we'll take a look at it here in just a minute with the feet too and measure that, but I want to go and do comparisons first. And here's our Kasos next to our Masterverse Ram Man and our Mythic Legions Atlas. And the Mythic Legions look really good next to this quality and detailed work that we're seeing on this Fight for Glory Exis Ray type figure. I would say that especially your Mythic, you know, medieval looking Mythic Legion figures, I mean, just go perfect with these style figures. Even the humanoids, which I'll show you a couple of the humans here in just a minute that were made by Exis Ray. And but anyway, this looks really good to me. I like it. I even like it with Ram Man. And like I said, I think I can make this work with my Masterverse because, man, this dude, he's just a giant, and He-Man may need to be able to call on him to help. Maybe even Ram Man call on him and say, look, you know, I can ram some walls down, but I sometimes need some help, and you've got the power, bud, to knock some stuff out and over. Maybe even to help me when I can't do it, Ram Man says. So, so you know, he could call on some reinforcements here, but that's looking cool. And here is our Kasos next to our Mythic Legion Centaur, Aetherius. You can check out my review on him. He is awesome. And look, they're about the same height. So that's pretty cool. So that makes me feel a little better. I mean, you know, as far as it being in scale, because we know this guy's in scale with 6-inch 1/12 scale. So when you see this bull next to this half humanoid, half horse figure, the centaur, then you say, okay, you know, this is working. And then there's NECA's Gargoyle Goliath, the newer one that I just reviewed with the new head sculpts and face plates. And that's not that bad as far as the scale. I mean, you know, he's tall, he's a tall action figure here. And to see, you know, he's maybe an inch, maybe a half, inch and a half, inch and a quarter taller, that works. So I think that looks really neat. And here is our Kasos next to the Blue Dragon and Tyrus Flare from the Axe Battler, or the Golden Axe series. And there's the Axe Battler himself. with his sword, and they look good. And the blue dragon's actually, if you measure the horns, just a little bit taller than our Kasos with his hooves on, so that is really cool. They actually look good together, I think. This is Storm Collectibles. Cool. And here's our Kasos next to Prince Goro, the newest Storm Collectible Goro that we have. I believe it's Mortal Kombat 10. I have a review up on him as well if you want to take a look at that one. And then here is another awesome Mythic Legions beast, a Cyclops with a helmet, and they come to about the same height, especially if you maybe a little taller on this part of the bull, but if you were to take off the hooves and put on the feet, which we're getting ready to do, I think they'd be the same height. Now I will show you that these, I mean, it almost looks like that X-Ray Studios is, I mean, not copying, but just inspired, we'll say, by the belts that we've seen, because this is some soft goods and some plastic and some bone. You got soft goods, plastic, and bone, and even a real metal chain there. All of this is looking very, very similar. The only thing is, and I'll bring this out again, and I mentioned it in Articulation, you have very limited articulation, no bicep swivel, no abdomen crunch feature here, whereas here you have abdomen crunch feature. Very well done for a big fella. Even butterfly joints, bicep swivel, double jointed knees. I mean, a lot of things that you don't have over here. So if they keep this up, they're going to actually do better than Mythic Legions in the long run with this style figure and this quality look plus the added articulation or modern articulation. All right. Now let's look at him with his feet instead of his hooves with this Mythic Legion beast here. Alright, see, now there is Kasos with humanoid feet instead of the hooves, and you see he's about the same height as our Mythic Legion Cyclops beast here. And then there's a Masterverse New Eternia battle armor He-Man with an Icarus head from Marvel Legends, because I think that looks good. You've seen me use that before if you watch my videos, and yeah, he looks cool. And just so you can see how that measures up with, if you choose to use the feet instead of the hooves, then not quite as tall as He-Man, but still a giant and looking good. Awesome. Now this is of course going to make him smaller and not as tall as the Centaur back there, the half horse, half human that we looked at from Mythic Legions as well. So you can kind of fill in the blanks of what it's going to look like down the line once you shorten him up using these feet. And they're wrapped. Like I said, I turned the wraps back the other way so they cover up the joint at the ankle. And when I put the hooves, I reverse them and put those wraps the opposite way so that the big part covers the joint, whereas the small part here is covering the ankle. So you see what I'm doing there, and that's just up to you. I just thought it looked best that way with mine. And so there we have it, and they're looking awesome here. Love the way that looks. By the way, that He-Man, I also painted that armor with a silver paint to give it a little bit more of a shine and metallic look. But so there's some custom things that have been done, but man, this guy here, I don't know anything I need to do with him. I mean, he just he comes complete with both options, with the feet or the hooves, and he's just looking great. I don't think I need to change a thing. He's going to be awesome on his own. All right, and here is our Kasos next to some more Combatants Fight for Glory figures. Loving these guys. They look great, and they go well with MOTU as well. I did a video on these some time ago, and man, this guy Kasos, he looks great beside just about everything. Mythic Legions, classics, of course his own kind here, as you see, more X-Ray Studios figures, including Masters of the Universe, Masterverse figures and everything you could partner this guy with. I think he looks great. Anything that has to do with mythos or, you know, lore of medieval or fantasy type lore, this dude's gonna fit in great. Thank you so much for joining us for this Super Dave review. It has been fun taking a look at this awesome bull action figure Kasos, and he is going to be an ally in my Masterverse, my MOTU universe, with He-Man and Fimir and Man-at-Arms and Hebrew and all the gang, Atlas and the Axe-Battler. And so all of these guys are cool. And so please come back and join us again for another Super Dave review soon. And I'm gonna say it, I think this guy works great with Masterverse and will even look good with classics, because I mean the classics are about the size, and I'll show you some in photos, about the size of Atlas Mythic Legions here. And I forgot to show you, let me just throw this in here right quick because I forgot. This is a Build-A-Figure by Mythic Legions, and I also have a review up on him. So we'll put him alongside the version with the feet, humanoid feet. But you can see here how Rentaro, I call him Rentaro, the Build-A-Figure bull looking figure, matches in really well with this Kasos. Looking awesome. Definitely taller, definitely more realistic. This guy needs a little bit less shine going on his clothes, I think. They have to spray him down with some matte acrylic finish there. But anyway, still looks cool. Just wanted to match that up. All right, here's some photos in the photo gallery. Be blessed.